Alright, hi there YouTube, it's me, Morris in America, and in this video I will be discussing about part 1 of affixing. However, it's not going to be demonstrating affixing just yet, so wait for the other videos. However, this will cover an important aspect when it comes to affixing that most people may ignore or may not pay attention to, or maybe they don't want to kind of point this out, but I'm here to inform you guys, especially the new players, when it comes to affixing. Now, I'm over here at the quest counter because I want to display the boost that's going on. Right now it's July 28th. Technically, the boost started yesterday, July 27th. Depending on when I upload this might be on the 29th. But basically, there's a boost going on. 150% in these fields: RDR, rare enemy appearance, experience rate, and meseta. Now, this boost will end on maintenance. Well, technically, depends on where you live, but I'm on the East Coast. So, Tuesday, August 2nd, 2016, the boost will disappear at 10 p.m. EDT. Now, you're gonna have to convert this to whatever time zone you're in. Basically the usual maintenance time for PSO2. So yeah, not only are these boosters active for the quest, there's also boosters going on in affixing and grinding. It's a 10% boost. So if you're thinking about grinding and affixing your weapon, now is the time, because you could try to get a little bit of a percentage when it comes to grinding, but the biggest dealio is the fix boost, because that 10% is really helpful, especially for people going from a 4 slot to a 5 slot. Now let's get started. So in this video, let's talk about costs. Now, if you don't know how to read the screen, I will quickly demonstrate it. So over here in the selected item box, this basically states this is the weapon or unit you will be playing around with, or technically shoving the new abilities you want onto this. So your main fodder piece, or your main, like I stated, unit or weapon piece. Now, as you can see, there's only 2 abilities I can select from. Now, the material item box will display the materials or the fodder pieces you will be selecting, and depending on how many you select from, the ability list over here will kind of grow bigger depending on what abilities each fodder piece have. And up here is the money you have and the cost. Now, let me get into a little history lesson and talk about something, I guess, what people had to do in episode 2. Because in episode 2, we didn't have 5 material items we could select from. We can only select 2. Now, everyone back then in episode 3, excuse me, not 3, in 2, the norm was everyone's units and weapons were around 3 slots, because that was the norm. Not a lot of people knew how to manipulate, or if you did know how to manipulate, then you could have gone for a 4 slot or higher. It just depends on the amount of money you have and if you know how to do your manipulation on these abilities. But yeah, the norm was 3 slot and sometimes 4, depends, because 4 slot was only possible with a 10% boost, and if you knew your affixes, you can actually go there. It wasn't that hard. Now, yeah, the reason why it was actually hard to actually exceed past like 3 slot was because of the fact people didn't actually, 3 was very cheap. You didn't need to go any higher. Not only that, 3 was kind of the good thing, because we didn't have extremely hard back then. So super hard, it didn't demand that much. Once you plus 10 your weapon, you unlock the potential. 3 slot weapons, 3 slot units were decent, as long as they had the minimal requirement and the alright damage output, sort of. It depends on your playstyle, but most people had a soul and 2 normal stat enhancement that complements their playstyle. Now, this changed because of episode 4, and a lot more people were starting to kind of upslot. And yeah, when did I say episode 4? I want to say episode 3, not 4, my bad. But when episode 3 was slowly rolling in, they displayed extremely hard, and then they also displayed the change to affixing. Now you can select up to 5 material items. Now pay attention to the cost when I select 5 material items. As you can see, it jumped from 58,100 meseta to 929,600 meseta. That's a lot. But the benefit of this is that you get a lot more abilities if your fodder pieces had different abilities on them. And depending on if you have the same abilities, you can also stack on the percentages. Now, you're not gonna have to worry about this sort of dealio just yet with the percentages and abilities and manipulating stuff just yet. We want to worry about the cost, so I will stress this out. If you're gonna finalize your weapons and units, spend as much money you need to get close to 100%, because it will be very, very bad, and it's gonna hurt your wallet, and it's just gonna be like very bad for you to lose all the money because one ability didn't like succeed. Like if I want to make this a 5-slot unit, you want to make sure all of the abilities are on it, and you don't want to get a fuck up from Dudu or Monica. So spend as much money you need. Maybe you don't want to spend that much, but you can try to lower down the costs of the cost by lowering the material items you select. But do what you need to do to get that 100%, because you don't want to gamble. I mean, definitely go ahead if you want to ignore this advice, but you could fail at a 95 and 98%. I've heard people failing at those percentages. I never risked that unless I really wanted to gamble, and sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't. But if I gambled, usually I gambled with pieces that I found and I don't mind gambling off of. But yeah, there is a way to control this, sort of. Now, well, no, excuse me. I take that back for now. Stressing this out once again, if you're gonna finalize something, spend as much money you need, spend as much resources you need so you can get that 100%, because you don't want that fuck up. Now, if you're making a fodder piece, let's say you want to have a modulator, flint, power 3, apprentice soul, 5-slot unit piece, fodder piece, so you can affix your 11-star, your 10-star. Then I will advise you guys to pay attention to the cost, because you don't want to use an 11-star as a fodder piece, because you'll be spending at least 929,600 meseta. Excuse me, I burped. You don't want to spend 929,600 meseta and then double it again because you're putting this on your 11-star. You want to make sure if you're gonna make a fodder piece, spend as little money as you can. You don't want to spend 929,600 meseta. Now, you can control this by using the lowest rarity unit or weapon. This applies to weapons as well, but I'm stressing this out on unit because I'm a unit fodder maker, not a weapon fodder maker. However, I can do weapons, it's just that units I have a better time with. As you can see, I will exaggerate this and max it out to 5 material items. As you can see, it doesn't cost 960,000 meseta. It costs around 460. I'm gonna round that up by a few. 461,000 meseta. So, yeah, this is for an 8-star rarity though. If I decide to go lower, this is a 5-star rarity. That's not a good one. Let me go to this one. I can lower down the cost even more. However, there are some differences. It depends on the unit actually. Not only do you need to pay attention to rarity, you can also pay attention to the cost. For example, this 7-star unit, for example, as you can see, just selecting it costs 2,000. So if you pay attention to the cost over here, it can also help determine the actual usage of it. Like if I select this 7-star, I'm not going to pronounce the name of this unit, but if you select this 7-star for example, and you select up to 5 material items, technically this is at 40,000 meseta, which is cheaper than that 5-star rarity unit. So you want to pay attention to whatever has the lowest meseta cost, because you could definitely use this 5-star unit, but if you have this cheaper 7-star unit, you can affix and make it into a great fodder for, then use it. Now I will end this video by using this sub card. Now as you can see, the costs me 300, and if I actually affix 2 pieces on with it, it's only 400. Now if I quadruple this, or technically select 5 fodder pieces, it's not even in the 5 digits. It's still in the 4 digits, and it only cost me 6,400 meseta. It's not even up there in price when it comes to like a daily order. So yeah, this unit piece I use a lot when it comes to making my fodder pieces, and I'm saving a lot of money because of it. So yeah, just to wrap up this video now, make sure you use the lowest rarity when it comes to making fodder, because you don't want to spend a lot of meseta when you can have saved it all for something else. Not only are you affixing your weapon, you need to affix your units as well, because they stack. And you have to affix 3 of them, and unit fodder costs a lot more than a weapon fodder. And then you also want to make sure you grind it as well, but just pay attention to the cost, because you can save a good amount of money just because you kind of know about this. You want to make sure, stressing this out again, use the lowest rarity weapon if you're gonna make a fodder piece. Now if you plan to finalize your final weapons and units, do whatever you need to do, because you don't want to, maybe you want to gamble, okay, maybe you want to gamble from a 4-slot to 5-slot final fixes, that's on you. But I'm gonna stress this out: if you're new to the game and you don't want to have RNG biting you in the ass and Monica and Dudu taking away a good amount of money because they fuck up on your units and weapons and fixes, try to get it to 100%. It might cost you a little bit more, but it's gonna be worth it, because you're not gonna get raped by these 2. So yeah, just make sure if you're gonna make any fodder piece, try to use the lowest rarity, pay attention to the meseta cost, and try to save as much money as you want. Unless you really don't care about it, then do whatever you want. And then if you plan to finalize something, do whatever you need to do to get that 100%, because I'm gonna stress this out. Once again, a bunch of my pals gamble around 95%, and sometimes it fails, or 98%, and they still fail. So do whatever you can to not get a fuck up on you. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hit that like and subscribe. More videos to come. Hopefully this week or in the next few days I make more fixing videos so you guys can actually start affixing. So peace.